This publication is designed for the use of victims, offspring, relatives, friends who have been affected by person S displaying narcissism or its borderline personality disorder, and for the legal experts who have been retained. This guide is intended as reference material pertaining to those ugly circumstances leading up to, during, and following divorces or family breakups when a contributing party shows incidental traits of narcissism or even just borderline personality disorder S. Within these chapters will be addressed specific issues commonly used by mates, parents, relatives, or unrelated persons affected by a mental condition known as narcissistic personality disorder (NPD). Examples and specific scenarios will herewith be provided to demonstrate the specific problems for the topic being described. Although I am a male victim with adult children, the condition also applies to females as victims. Most depictions are interchangeable, but I will address what the female victim may experience as well. This publication is designed as a reference source for not only dealing with narcissistic personality disorder situations, but also ideas on how to record, report, and explain evidence when necessary. Parent alienation is now considered by experts as a form of mental illness. Dr. Childress. This is when the malignant narcissistic personality disorder aggressor takes extraordinary steps to harm another's relationships, reputation, and social standing in their immediate family or extended community. As the author, my experiences with a person having narcissistic personality disorder have spanned over half of my life. I have been divorced for over 21 years with 2 of my 3 adult children now being alienated. As later described in this publication, I was the target of a narcissistic personality disorder aggressor for a few years longer. However, I will begin this journey for your benefit as in a post-divorce context. At the offset of my divorce, I followed the general social advice of not allowing the children to know any of the atrocities described in the following pages. The attacks included terrible rumors to clergy, doctors, school officials, neighbors, and even mutual friends who mostly absorbed the innuendo's hook, line, and sinker. Basically, I had to life paths to take under these circumstances. They were to expose the abuses to children too young to comprehend and suffer the professionally estimated years of alienation at that time, or to suffer until their adulthood and hope that they can then ascertain truths from fiction. Well, in hindsight, both had equal consequences. I now have 2 of my 3 children that can be termed as being alienated. The downside for me is that I married later in life, am a senior citizen, and now need to make future plans absent of their support. Therefore, when a malignant narcissist executes their abilities to affect those around you, whether related or not, you tend to distrust those who you are dependent or would normally rely on. Oh, by the way, I consider myself a good father. My children were well-fathered, morally and financially supported. I had attended or coached their sports teams, and I even fought for and acquired my substantial joint custody, which was rarely obtainable in the county that I was divorced in. Pre-divorce record and receipt keeping was beneficial towards acquiring this custody outcome. Why did I write this narration? The purpose? No, it wasn't written out of revenge or self-indulgence. My purpose was mainly to relate this issue from a first-party perspective. This reason and that of my hope to further help other targets, victims, and legal experts. Since my divorce over 20 years ago, the courts have now evolved to accept testimony and adjudicate accordingly. My story can help those concerned ascertain whether real malignant narcissistic tactics have been executed against innocent victims or was the behavior non-malignant. In my experience, malignant narcissistic is herewith documented or explained as behavior that is repetitive, aggressive, or indulged in excess. I was targeted by manipulation and/or social interference in my relations with about everyone known to or associated with my children with regular or over-aggressive intent. For example, not defamed to educational staff, but to most if not all teachers and their superiors. to medical services, doctors and hospital staffs, daycare establishments, and the like. Not to mention damaging rumors and orated innuendos. Sleight of mind equates to a magician's sleight of hand in as much that a person with a malignant narcissistic personality disorder can misrepresent untruths, making the falsehoods appear plausible and very believable. This narcissistic mystery is not unlike a professional magician's skill to turn a raw egg into a white dove effortlessly. Flying monkeys refer to people who carry out the work of a narcissist or an abusive person, and it comes from The Wizard of Oz, in which the Wicked Witch of the West puts flying monkeys under her spell. The words supply person or persons that the narcissist requires attention, adoration, moral or monetary service from. The word target, being the target of narcissistic abuse, can be devastating. Targets often experience shame, fear, and a lack of trust. Their identity and worldview may be trampled upon, leading to emotional distress. As opposed to the narcissist victim, victim as the narcissist is someone who lives his or her life as a victim, refuses to take responsibility for anything that goes wrong, and has a tendency to blame others for what they go through. They will often resort to violence or anger when confronted. Narcissistic victim syndrome occurs when someone has lived with or spent a significant amount of time with a person classified as a narcissist. People struggling with this syndrome often have doubts about their sanity and self-worth and have concerns about their failures, flaws, and perceived shortcomings. The related meaning of victim, those truly being abused. These relations struggle with often have doubts about their sanity and self-worth and have concerns about their failures, flaws, and perceived shortcomings. Narcissistic abuse is a type of emotional abuse where the abuser only cares about themselves and may use words and actions to manipulate their partner's behavior and emotional state. After the separation, the malignant narcissist will attack by influencing how others feel about you since they no longer have that direct control. 2. The malignant narcissist will use every tool to smear, destroy your reputation, cause financial harm, and utilize one or more flying monkeys to help execute their objectives without you, the target, even being suspect. Reminder: Flying Monkey is the moniker taken from The Wizard of Oz, where as the evil which utilized flying monkeys to do her bidding. The aggressive narcissistic personality disorder person most often will recruit others to assist in their pursuit of their target. 3. They will have no problem hitting below the belt using topics so vile and offensive beyond anyone's imagination. No issue will be off limits. 4. Their success is not only that the target is unknowing, but that the target is usually very empathic. 5. They, themselves, will have no empathy, sense of guilt, or compassion. Regret, remorse, or shame are not of their characteristics. As a result, they will easily steal, cheat, and betray any confidence that you had in them. 6. As a target, you may unknowingly be accused of crimes, sexual immorality, or worse. These tactics often go unknown for a lengthy period or forever, depending on whose ears are listening or who will have the moral aptitude to enlighten you. 7. The malignant narcissist will be convincing, overly desperate, and always consumed with winning. 8. Nothing will be beyond their efforts. Even their children can be subtly recruited into their consuming disdain. Children, close relatives, and mutual friends are just collateral damage to a malignant or covert narcissist. Everything and everyone are fair game to obtain their goals. These unknowing victims can be so barraged that they will have no psychological option but to accept the convictions as a technique of survival. Love will often be used as the catalyst. Note: the malignant or covert narcissistic person will not only invent ideas to attack their target, but will often use tactics discovered elsewhere. Many will even utilize matters that they themselves are guilty of, considered to be a transference of responsibility. By doing so, they are essentially accusing their target of their own past sins, limiting the target's believability when later exposing the transgressions as being those of the narcissist. One huge subject that is transferred to the target would be the accusations that the target was the party who was the abuser, defamer, and often the cheater in the relationship. One, approximately 50% of children in the United States experience the divorce of their parents. 2. Women are awarded child custody in about 83% of divorce cases. 3. About 22% of fathers see their children more than once a week after a divorce. 4. Around 10% of custody cases are decided through mediation. 5. Only 4% of custody cases actually go to trial. This percentage seems to be increasing as the courts are considering narcissistic influences within the family unit. Most of the examples within this publication exemplify the male as subjected to narcissistic behavior due to the 83/17th percentile statistic mentioned above. Identifying a malignant or covert narcissist, let us first identify that the narcissist has a very vindictive trait. They often have very large social networks such as in their workplace, extensive number of friends, a large email address database, cell phone text recipients, large family, etc. Experts say that 1 of 6 adults exhibit some sort of narcissism traits. These varying degrees can range from someone harmless who just brags about a personal financial or social standing as opposed to a malignant or covert person exemplifying narcissistic personality disorder. A malignant narcissist will exhibit 1 or more of the following traits. These traits usually occur post-separation of the marriage or friendship of you. The targeted person who initiated or consummated the parting or ending of the relationship will be subject to a barrage of aggression, slandering, and social abuse usually unknown to the target. If the malignant narcissist initiated the divorce or parting of ways, then the abuse may have started much earlier. Even if you were not the party who initiated the end of the relationship, the narcissist may maliciously reverse these roles in order to manipulate successfully. In either circumstance, it is wise to totally divorce yourself from this aggressor. This can be challenging when children are in the mix. 1. Idealization, the first stage when involved with a narcissist, otherwise known as the wooing or adoration stage. Whereas their future target will feel empathy, genuine caring, love. 2. Devaluation, the second stage when involved with a narcissist. This is stage when the target is no longer valued as a contributor of supply. 3. Discardment, the third phase when targeted by a narcissist. This is the stage when you will be weaned from the narcissist's needs. Your supply, when you cease to still to be of need, will be sought out and furnished through others' neighbors, friends, new acquaintances, other co-workers, or new romantic partners, all of which will be hoovered into the same pattern as you. For hoovering is a technique that drags you into cycles of abuse, disrupting your entire life and those around you. This activity wheel will be repeated until the target and/or victim becomes wise and shuts off the supply. This concludes Alienation, Sleight of Mind, Edition 1. Please like and subscribe for additional and future editions.